Hey everyone. So I've gotten a couple of questions from various places in the universe about using pedals, guitar pedals, with steel guitar. Uh, Plugs up just the same, but because of tone, range, how the instruments are used, not everything tends to like transfer over from one world to the next. So I can occasionally talk about some of the pedals that I use and how I use them. And wanted to start with one that I use every gig, every session, and that's the Electro-Harmonix Memory Man with Hazarai. This is, there you go, there's obligatory close-up. This is one, they've been making these for, I don't know, probably about 10 years, I think. Mine's worked fine the whole time. Like I said, I've used it constantly. It's got a bunch of knobs. When you first look at it, it's got a bunch of knobs, but a lot of them are pretty ubiquitous amongst delay pedals. They do the same thing from any brand, any make, model, whatever. Starting off, we've got blend, which is basically, do you get a little bit of delay or not a lot of delay? Here we are, dry versus you getting actually nothing but echo. Your original signal is that's in particular, that's really helpful with like the reverse setting, which we'll get to in a minute. Next we've got decay knob. It does a bunch of different stuff depending on the function. In most of the settings it kind of smear the smear of the echoes, for lack of a better term. Filter is one. It kind of, you can have a very trebly sort of echo. Let's dial our original signal back in. Our echoes are much washed out, very trebly compared to very bassy, almost more like some of the old analog delays. I tend to go about in the middle, cheating to the side of the treblier world. I think you can get by with a lot more delay. It's not necessarily going to cascade in on itself and give you some like background rumble that you can't actually tell what you're doing. Maybe that's the effect that you're looking for. You do you. Up next we've got repeats, which is kind of, do we have a lot or a little? So basically like one, maybe one or two versus that'll go for a while. Like I said, I don't tend to use a lot of repeats, but every once in a while it's good to really wash something out, especially if you're if you've filtered it, such as, you know, you're on the trebly business. And then we've got delay. We can back it up, and it's almost more of like a slapback echo that you get, or like a kind of very digitalized reverb. And as we sneak it up, you hear there's more time in between. There it is. And eventually, like, it hangs out for a minute before it really ever kicks back in. This can be fun if we toss our pedals in. So, total truth here, I never read the manual when I first got this thing way back when. This was a pedal that I really just like, I'm going to turn the knobs to where they look cool and see what happens. There have been settings on this thing where I swear I've never been able to replicate, but that's okay. That's, you know, that's the nature of improvised music and stuff. But it basically I should have. Because it does some things that I never really got around to finding out. Like, I bought a chorus pedal at some point without realizing that the thing has a built-in chorus pedal. onto more of like a flangery type of thing. You get that on, what is it? I think 100 millisecond plus mod being like modulation. It's your chorus flanger type of things. It's got what they call multi-tap, in which you can actually set wait a minute now. Alright, maybe I don't know what that does. Moving on. So, again, never read the manual. I actually bought this thing kind of for the reverse delay. The reverse delay is really cool. Specifically talking about pedal steel and lap steel, here's the thing. If you use a lot of volume pedal, then when you reverse that, it basically sounds the same as it did backwards and forwards. Let's see, let's dial a little more into where you can hear what I'm talking about. So cool, but again, it kind of just sounds like the regular delay. But if we throw in some pick attack, then you get more of that like psychedelic freak-out kind of experience. We can also crank it up to where we actually get none of the original signal. So, again, I love that. Like, I really love reverse delay. Electro-Harmonix makes a lot of really cool reverb pedals. So, again, the person here not having read the manual, I looked at 1 second plus REV, and when oh, cool, they've thrown in a reverb onto this unit. Come to find out, no. It actually stands for reverse. So if we go, and this is one where you kind of need to have your feet, which makes pedal steel kind of tricky, lap steel less so. Here, let's dial back our original signal in. And then as soon as we click the tap tempo button, it actually takes what you've played and reversed it back. Again, you throw in a bunch of volume pedal business, and it just sort of sounds like what it sounded like forward, if that makes sense. I have sat here for hours doing nothing but that, now that I know what it does. Again, there's a loop function. I think a lot of people know what loops do at this point in the world. It's a little hard for me to describe. Here, I can do this. And it will literally do that until your power goes out or something. One thing I think is really cool. Again, this decay knob does a bunch of different stuff. But if I turn it all the way back counterclockwise, it actually reverses the delay, which I think is really cool. I think it does something where it does half speed. I should really read the manual. I don't know what that did. So again, check one out. Like there are ways to use delays and echoes with lap steel that works really well. Very, very brief pro tip. These things eat up milliamps. So if you've got a bunch of like power hungry pedals on your board, when you click it, it'll produce this really obnoxious high pitched whine. The way to get around that is to give it its own power supply, or I will say the Boss unit. If you're using like a one spot and you're little rectangular thing, and you're getting a lot of that high pitch whine, try the Boss version. there's a lot more milliamps to it, and so I've had less issue with that. Some places you plug in just have really bad power, and you have to deal with it because that's life on Earth. But anyway, this was a questionably organized, questionably informative video on using the Electro-Harmonix Memory Man. Thank you. I will be doing more of these as time permits, and some more songs. So thanks for checking out this video. Here's my hand coming up very close. Touch the finger. All right, bye-bye. Nope.